So, what I wanted to show you today is a little bit about the new functionality that we have with our um, uh, email marketing tool. So, the email marketing tool has been available for a while now, but previously we only had the ability to use what's called the classic content um, display there. And we now have the ability to use what's called the content builder functionality as part of that. So that's kind of what we're going to go over today, are some of the differences there. All right. So once you, so as before, the way that you get to the tool is through your main kind of Salesforce interface, and you would have a Marketing Cloud link over here once we've got you onboarded to that portion of the tool. You can click that link to launch into the Marketing Cloud window itself. Once you do that, then the first thing that you'll do is you will make sure that you have switched over to your society over here, because we have some individuals who have access to multiple societies. Everyone has the CFA Institute link as well as their society underneath. So you'll need to make sure that you switch over to your society, that's the content that you're looking at. And then from there, then you can click the, first of all, make sure you're in the email studio, and then the email link here. And then from there, you can click the content button to actually get into where you're going to start building your content. So your view will look slightly like, mostly like this. There could be a few differences just because of my my access rights. But what you'll do then, what we've done is we've taken some of the basic layouts that are provided by the tool itself. You just kind of have a certain configuration of elements that you can use as your starting point. And we've saved all of those templates over so that they're available for you. So anytime you're ready to start creating an email from scratch, you can use one of those layouts. What we're also doing, both for societies who are onboarding, we're starting to help kind of create a first email that you can use as a starting point, that includes your logos and things like that. For societies who are already onboarded, then we can certainly help you build one of those if you would like. And then going forward, we'll also be adding some templates that, as recommended by societies or by our marketing team, we can start building out some kind of drafts that can be used going forward for particular purposes or particular topics and things like that. So you'll see some more of those shared, more kind of draft emails that you can start using going forward. But from the very beginning, you'll have these draft templates that you can, these kind of layout templates that you can start using. So when you're ready to create your first email, you're going to have this create button up here. So you can click that, and you can say that you want to create an email. And then once you're ready, then you can go in and start basically creating an email from this variety of options. So the one that you're going to want to choose most likely is going to be that you want to create an email from a template. You do have the option to create an email from an existing email. So once you've created your first email, if you want to again use that, some of your earlier emails as essentially a draft to start your next one, you could always choose that option. But for our purposes today, we're going to say that we want to create an email from a template. And then any of your emails, once you've saved them, you'll start seeing them populate here. But the saved templates that you can work from are going to be under the folders here, and then you can see that you have the option to look through your local or your society's content or shared content. So we're going to go to the shared content here, and then you can see that there's the option to have sort of shared content at a higher level, and then we also have but you can see that there is the all shared content here. Well, so what we've done is we have the blank templates that are here, and you can see, again, all of them listed here. So these are, again, are all of your options that you can use as your starting point, and you can see that they have a variety of different configurations, essentially different layouts, different numbers of columns, different configurations as to whether you've got text at the top, text at the bottom, where you want your images to be. So you can essentially kind of look through there and find one that looks kind of the way that you would like to use as your starting point. So you'll select your template there, and then once you've done that, you'll click select here. And again, you can kind of see a preview of what your email is going to look like. If you change your mind and think, actually, I don't like this configuration after all, you can always click the button here to change your mind. Once you've got your email selected, then you are going to fill in the properties basically to save this template to start working on it. So we'll call this put a name there, and then here you can essentially decide where you're going to save that email. You have your options here. Again, you've got your content builder folder. If you choose to start creating additional folders, subfolders under this folder, you can do that, and then you could always select one of those folders to save it to instead. And then here you can see that you're saving it back to your business unit, so it'll be available for your society to view. So you can usually save those, keep those default settings the way that they are. Click next. And then this is where you can start actually building the content for your email. So you can see again on the right, you've got all of your information, all of those content blocks with the kind of blank information pulled in there. So as you can see that you have the ability to hover over any of these blocks, and you can drop blocks or content here. And then you can drill into each of those blocks to start making changes. So here, if we click on this top block, you'll see that the type of block that you have is going to determine what options you have over on the left-hand side. So this block here is just for an image. So you can see that it's asking you, giving you some different options to make changes to that specific block, to that image block. So here, if you want to swap out your image, which presumably you would, and probably you want to swap it out for your society's logo, you can click the replace button there, and then here you can go ahead and browse to find an image. What we've started doing is pulling over logos for each society, so you should start seeing that content here. If you don't see it right here, or don't see it here yet, or if what you're looking for is not something that's already here, you can drag and drop your content to add logos, or if you have an image of your venue that you want to use for your event or something like that, you can always drag and drop that content from your desktop or wherever you have it saved on your computer. So we'll just bring over something. Whoops. There we go. So we're gonna see what we've got in here. All right, we'll just choose this. It's kind of a default logo image. So anytime you upload an image, or anytime you add an image to be uploaded, you're going to want to click the upload and publish button. And you can see that it's now brought that over here. You can make some other you can define some other parameters for that imagery. You can always adjust the dimensions of the image if you would like. You can have, we're logged into the Brazil Society. You can add some alternate text that will display if someone kind of hovers over the image, or if someone is looking at, if someone has just text emails that they're willing that they can accept, can't accept HTML, so the images won't come through, then it would have this text appear instead of your logo there. You can also do things like adding a border to your image in different colors, different widths. You can see that as I click these different options, it's showing what those changes are going to look like over here. You can also add image padding so that you can add a bit more white space to your image. You can also change the alignment if you'd like, and you can also embed links behind any of the images that you've added. So to add a link, you can click that add link button, and you can add something like a URL there. You can always add text describing the link, again, that would sort of hover over, or that would sort of appear if you hovered over that particular link. And so you have all of those various options. We're going to go ahead and save that block. You also have an overall save button up here that you can click as you kind of go through if you'd like. So then as we scroll down, you can see that you have some, depending, again, as I was saying, depending on the type of block and the sorts of content that are within that block, you have some different options for what you can do. So if we click on this block, you can see that this block technically consists of two different parts. If you choose to get rid of one of the sections, you always have this drop-down box that you can click to get rid of a particular section. So we got rid of that that larger image here. You can also get rid of this part here. And then if you decided you wanted to add something different to this blank section here, you have all of these different options over here. You can add things like buttons. You can add just free form text. You could add HTML code. You could add another image here. You could add just blank text. And then you have the more advanced content that you can use that we probably won't touch on this call. You also have social media options. So you have, for example, a social follow. So here, and you can see that it's pretty handy because it has the logos for the different social media platforms included already. So all you have to do is insert the URL for your Facebook page, for example, or your Twitter page. And you can also choose kind of the style that you want to use here. You have some different options for how you want those logos to look. You can also add a new social network. So if you want to add LinkedIn instead, or one of the other options here, or if you don't tweet, so you want to get rid of that one, you can remove one and then instead add the LinkedIn. So you have those different options there for how you want those to be configured, which ones you want to use. And again, it's pretty easy to just insert the URLs for your different platforms there. Obviously, for a section that has text, you're going to want to be able to adjust the text. So here you can just start modifying the text here. Again, it's set up to where it has different formatting. If there's kind of a title section, so that part's larger and in bold in this example, but you can always adjust that if you want to. You can you have primary title, secondary title, tertiary title, or you can completely remove the formatting if you want it to start from more of a plain text look and feel. You have different fonts that you can choose from, different sizes if you just want to manually change the size there. You can also add personalization. So you have If you want your email to be personalized and actually say, dear John or dear Karen or whatever, you can actually insert those personalized fields, and it will pull those fields from the data source, from the report that you're using for sending your messaging. And again, you have all of your standard formatting options, so bulleted lists and numbered lists, and adding links within the body of the text. You can add tables and all of that sort of thing. Similarly to the social media section, if you want to change information about a button, if you click on a section that has a button in it, this is where the actual text of the button is. So you might change, if you're announcing an event, you might choose to change this to something like register here, if I could spell correctly. And then within that, if you scroll down, you can see this is where the URL is. So this is where you would embed the URL that someone would click in order to.
The audio.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so so I was just saying that if you have a content block like this, where you have added your social media URLs and you've made sure that you're showing just the platforms that you currently use and not any others. Once you have this set up the way you'd like, if it's something that you want to be able to reuse later, reuse that whole block, what you can always do is you can click Save Block here, click Create New, and it'll give you the chance to name this block. I call this something like customized social media. And then you can save this. And then going forward, what you could do is if you decide you want to, basically add that block in later. Let me see where we saved it. So now that we've saved this block here, you can always drag and drop this to add that back in. So you can see that I've now added my customized block up here. So you have that option not only with the social media, but you could do that with your logo, so that if you wanted to save this block to be able to easily drag and drop that onto your content at any point, you could do that. I'm trying to think of any other examples, but anything like that where it's something that you may want to reuse at a later date, you can always save that block, give it a name, and then you can always find that within your content section to drag and drop onto the page. So any questions about how you can kind of um, modify your content, make changes there, drag and drop? All right. And just a few more things about looking at your content here. You can see that you have the option to look at this in desktop format or in mobile. So if you click mobile, it'll let you see what your message might look like on someone's phone. You can also see what it might look like in plain text. Um, you also have the option to adjust some of the sort of styling for that template. If you want to make some more major changes, you could actually change the background color. Again, you can add sort of borders to the entire template itself. As you scroll down here, you can see that you have some options to change the body of your message, change the overall kind of default settings for the font for the body, for the font for these different types of sections. So the question is, do we have any examples of HTML formatting? I don't have any ready right now, but it's something I can look into. I know that there is the possibility, sometimes you can get from kind of a marketing team or something like that. They can create an email and provide you with the actual code to generate the entire email based solely on that code. So in that case, you could basically just use that code for the email itself. The only thing with that is that if you're using just the HTML code to create and to actually form your email, you can't easily make any changes to that. So you do have to make sure that code is exactly what you're looking for. Although you could use code and just embed the code in one block of the email, and then you could make changes to other parts of the email. But that may be something that we'll be doing going forward. If we have some kind of marketing emails where we want to make it easy for societies to essentially just replicate that email and send it out directly the way that it is, that may be something that we'll be looking at going forward. All right. Any other questions? That was a good question. So I'll quickly show you, just for anybody who hasn't used that functionality, I'll quickly show you how you actually go about sending your messages. Although that part hasn't really changed from the way that it worked before. If anybody's had the training on how to do the email marketing component, because you don't actually send your message directly from here, because society's data with our technology platform is housed within the more traditional Salesforce interface. So once you've saved your email here, we'll make sure that we save it again. And it's letting us know that you have to enter a subject line to send the email. Because you're not sending it directly from here, you don't necessarily have to put in your subject line, but if you do, you'll be able to see that later. So we'll just we'll put our subject line. We'll put that name there, and we'll save that here. You can also add personalization to the subject line if you want. So we'll put something like, come to our luncheon, November luncheon, John. So we'll go ahead and save that. Again, you don't necessarily have to do this section if you don't want to, because you'll have the chance to adjust that title later. But now if you go to your more traditional Salesforce interface, kind of the dashboard that we use for the technology system that we're providing to societies. From here, then, societies will have a marketing cloud tab that's available. Either some societies may have it directly visible if they've kind of added it to their layout. If you don't see it directly here, then you can click this plus sign to view all of your available tabs, and then click the Marketing Cloud link here. What this is going to do for you is it's going to launch into what's called the Marketing Cloud connector. And essentially that connector is what connects the data that's housed within the Salesforce platform here to your content that you've built within Marketing Cloud within this tool over here. And it's important to note too that, again, the data source that you are going to use for your message is going to be based on reports. For societies who are already onboarded, we will have created some standard reports for you that have that essentially replicate some of them are going to replicate some of the queries that you've seen in the society portal. Others are more specific to the technology offerings that are available here. So a report that lists all of your event attendees, for example, or a report that pulls in, I'm trying to think of an example, pulls in individuals who've provided responses on a form, which is kind of like a questionnaire that you can attach to ticket types when someone's purchasing them during the registration process. And also the data that you have within the Salesforce platform here, within this technology, is the data that you have is defined using what are called badges. So essentially an electronic tag that's on someone's record to denote how they're kind of related to the society and or CFA Institute. So if they're a member of CFA Institute and your society, they'll have a member badge for your society on their record. If they're a candidate in the CFA program, they'll have a candidate badge. And you can also define a number of different local badges if you would like. So if you have local members, you could have a local member badge. If you have contacts that you generally email about any of your conferences, whether or not they're a member, we could help you upload those contacts to the system as well. So again, you can have all of these different contacts in your system, and you can create different reports to pull in those different subsets so that you can make sure that you're communicating out with the targeted groups that you would like to reach about your message. So what you'll do then from here is essentially you're going to choose your email that you've created and choose the report that you want to use as your data source. The very first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to change your business unit. Again, just like you saw in the Marketing Cloud interface, you are going to make sure that you're sending your email from your society rather than from the larger CFA Institute kind of folders there. So here you will probably not see this many societies. You'll probably just see CFA Institute, and then the generally one or sometimes a handful of societies that you have access to that you work with. So we'll select our society that we've been working with, and then here we're going to find our email that we created. So we're going to click Find. And again, we saved our messaging under the Content Builder folder. So if we click that, you can see the email here. And you can see that it did bring over our subject line that we created. Again, you could adjust it at this point if you wanted to. And then here you would go in and you would find the report that you want to use as your data source. So we're going to click Add, and I'll show you what some of the reporting looks like, and then for our purposes, we'll send it just to a test group. That's another thing that our onboarding team is doing for societies as they start using the tool. And it's something that we can help provide if it's not something that you have set up already and you're already using the tool. Then we can help you create essentially a test report that you can use to send out and kind of proofread your emails before you send them out to a larger group. So if we look, let's see what we've got in here. So again, you probably will only see a handful of folders here. But you can see these are some of the kind of standardized reports that we push out for societies for them to use. And then you can see that Tally, looks like you have a test report as well for sending out your communications first to take a look and preview them. And I have a test report myself as well, so let me drill through and find that. Okay. Once you've selected that, you can choose whether or not to remember exactly who you're sending this message to. Because since you are using reports as your data source, those reports are constantly in flux as individuals change their status. So if someone joins as a new member, then they'll be added to that report. If your report is a list of candidates and someone cancels their registration, for example, then they would come off of that list. So off of that report. So if you want to be able to retain exactly who received this message, you can check this option. Otherwise, you could just leave this blank and just keep in mind that if you use the same report at a later date, it may not have the exact same individuals on it. Under the From section, you're always going to choose Send Classification, and you should see the options that we've set up for you during the onboarding process to match who you want to be able to, or which email addresses you want to be able to use for sending out your communications of different types. So we'll choose this one since we're sending a draft about events. You'll probably always want to choose dedupe subscribers just so that if someone is on your report more than once because they meet more than one set of criteria, then they won't receive the message. They'll just receive it a single time. You have the option to disable individual level tracking if you would like. We'll take a look quickly if we have time, which I think we will. We'll take a look quickly at the kinds of data that you can get back, the kind of analytics data that you'll see for your message. If you don't want to have all of that individual level tracking, as we'll see, you can see exactly how each individual sort of responded to the email. So did they actually receive it? Did it go through? Did they open it? Did they click on any links within it? You can see all of that sort of information, but if for some reason you want to disable that, so for example, if you have a completely anonymous survey that you're sending out, for example, you may choose to disable that level of tracking. Then you can also decide whether you want to send your message right away or at some predefined date and time in the future. And then the last thing that you're going to want to click here is that you've certified that everyone has opted in. When we were looking at the reports, I don't know if you happen to notice there, but some of them have an EM in front of them for email. And essentially the EM versions of your reports that you see there have filtered out anyone who has said not to contact them by email. So as long as you're using one of those versions of the reports, or as long as you have put in those parameters yourself, if you created your report on your own, then you can feel safe to certify that everyone has opted in to your message. Once you've got all of those set, then you can go ahead and click send, and it will go ahead and start sending out your message. Usually takes, especially for obviously this test group just has one person, just has me on it, so it should go through pretty quickly. But what I can show you is I'll show you some of the analytics that you can see on those messages that go out. We'll take a look at one that actually went out to a few more individuals. So let's see, we'll take a look at, I think this one went out last night. So we'll see what kinds of data we can see on this one. So again, this is the kind of information that you'll see for any of your messages that once they've had a chance to cycle through and be delivered. So at the top, you'll see some basic information about the message itself. You'll see when it was sent. You'll see some of the parameters that you set. You'll see basically see the report or reports that uses the data source for that. As you scroll down, you can see again more information about exactly who was on the from line and the which society obviously was sending it. And then down below, you can see some more detailed information about the message itself, what the subject line was, when it was sent, how many individuals it was sent to, and then again, more detailed information on exactly how different individuals responded. For this particular example, we had a 100% delivery rate. You can see that we had, so it went out to 39 people. Of that 39, 27 of them opened the message, 27 unique individuals, a total of 52 times. So you can see that people are opening it more than once. You can see that because this particular email did have links embedded within it, you can see that there were 5 specific individuals who clicked links within the message, a total of 8 times. So again, they're doing things more than once. And then you can see again your open performance in kind of a graphic display here. So you can see that it had a 69% open rate. Again, you can see some of the kind of unengaged subscriber information. So 34 individuals did not click any links within the message, but only 12 actually didn't open it at all. And then as you scroll down, you can see the detailed individual level results that we were talking about. If you want to see the full list, you can click here to view that. And for all of the individuals that you sent your message to, you can see when it was sent to them, whether or not that specific person opened the message, whether they opened it, when they opened it, if it bounced. So if it was undeliverable, you'll see that information here as well. And then down at the very bottom, you'll see more information about the links. So in this particular email, there was just one single link. But again, you can see that it was last clicked this morning at 1:38. The total number of clicks, again, the total number of clicks is 8. The total number of unique clicks is 5. So again, looks like individuals are clicking on that more than once. So again, this is the kinds of data that you'll get on any of your messages that you send out. So this can help you determine which of your messages are more successful than others. You can, see if it looks like certain types of messaging, if they get more traffic. If again, you can see that specific link level information. So if individuals are clicking on one type of link as opposed to other types of links, you can kind of start gathering that data and using that to craft your messages going forward and customize them to get the most interest and the most hits from your recipients. So that was pretty much what I wanted to cover today for you. Does anyone have any questions for me? All right. If not, then thank you for participating today. I appreciate it. Appreciate the time you've put in. And if you do find that you have any questions going forward, definitely let me know. Again, we'll be putting a recording of this call up on the Society Center as we always do. And other than that, I hope to talk to you next month.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. Talk to you later. Bye.